Next on the list, record of proceedings of the January 28, 2021 minutes. Anybody have any changes or suggestions or any thoughts?
This is Dwight. The only question I had is that would it serve us better down the road or serve others down the road if we listed the reorganization of the board with names rather than just as previous officers? If someone comes back and looks at this down the road, they have to go back and dig through additional records. It's not a big thing, but it might just be helpful for someone down the road.
I don't think it's a bad idea. Just rather than list previous, just list the names of chair, vice chair, secretary.
Mm-hmm. I think that should be noted.
I think the reason you did it that way is because that's exactly how I worded the motion. So instead of going through all the names, but I would have no objection to writing the minutes that way. Because he has a good point.
It would be possible. I think it would be possible to leave the motion as it is because that's how it was made, and then just put a sentence afterward. This means that chairman, vice chairman, secretary, or like that.
I think that's probably a good plan.
Is that your motion?
I make a motion that we amend the minutes with the statement of who the individuals are for the various positions, and that the minutes are approved accordingly.
I'll second that.
I'm going to split your motions there, Dwight. Let's amend the minutes. All those in favor of amending the minutes so that the names are listed separately, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, minutes have been amended. I'll take your motion again, Dwight.
Make a motion to approve the amended minutes.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the amended minutes. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Next on the list, item number 3, case PC-21-01, vacation petition filed by Dan Bernhardt for a vacation of certain portions of streets and an alley in the Canada Town Site plat.
Okay, I'll start off and give a little bit of background about this vacation petition. Brandon, do you have this? We're pulling up an exhibit so that everyone can be on the same page. Yeah, there you go. The one that has the block numbers and the shaded area reflecting. Okay. So this application was submitted in January. Legal notice was published on February 3rd of 2021. Notification letters were sent to neighboring properties within 1,000 feet from each of these proposed vacation areas. Signs were posted on the site on February 5th, 2021. And we have not received any outside comments, either by phone, in person, or written. There have been no objections from the public or surrounding property owners to this vacation petition. This request was initiated by Daniel Bernhardt and his wife. He's the owner of Block 3 of this Canada Town Site plat. There are multiple property owners with land adjacent to the rights of way proposed to be vacated. The petition was signed by all parties with adjacent land, thus beginning the vacation process. And if you will note in the petition itself and in my staff report, I've noted the original town site street names along with the street names that are posted now. I think they updated the names to where they're alphabetical and numerical to be consistent with the 911 addressing system. So if you'll take a look, if you can follow along on that exhibit there. The vacation petition is for the portion of West Street, which is narrow now, north of the intersection of West and First, between Block 3 and 4, and the portion of First Street, east of the intersection of First and Main Street, which is now 194th Terrace and Navajo, between Block 2 and Block 7, and the portion of Main Street, which is now Navajo, north of the intersection of Main and First, between Block 2 and 3, and all of the dedicated alley on Block 6, between lots 1 through 6 and lots 7 through 18, all in the Canada Town Site Plat, Marion County, Kansas. So the Planning Commission has jurisdiction over this vacation petition since it is a platted subdivision. The Planning Commission will review the information and then make a recommendation to the county commissioners. If there's no protest after the meeting tonight, the commissioners will make a final determination which would be, I need to look at the calendar, but it'll basically be 2 weeks from now. Then a resolution will be published in the newspaper with the final determination. So for a little history, there are 3 home sites, 4 commercial properties, 1 property used for agricultural storage, and 1 vacant lot used as a backyard. These are all adjacent to the areas proposed to be vacated. The parcels directly to the north and east of the platted area each consist of over 70 acres and are zoned as agricultural. Neither of these agricultural tracts utilize the platted rights of way for access. There's the ability to access Nighthawk along both of those agricultural properties at other locations other than these platted streets. The property owners of these ag parcels have no objections to the proposed vacations. The other adjacent property owners are all in favor of vacating the aforementioned rights of way. These property owners wish to absorb the vacated portions of land for residential, commercial, and agricultural use respectively. It is their opinion that the space dedicated to street rights of way are not being used as such, and instead being maintained by the property owners. All said lots and blocks will maintain public road access via the remaining platted streets. It is the opinion of staff that vacating the said streets and alley dedications, that it would cause the public no undue hardship. Several portions of the original plat have already previously been vacated due to lack of expansion and the desire to use the land for residential and agricultural purposes. So if you can see there to the right of, which would be east of Block 2 and Block 7, that portion of the platted area that is now tilled ground, that portion has previously been vacated. Once vacated, the law dictates that the land returns to the owners of the adjoining lands within the plat. The vacated portion will have the rights of way split down the middle, and the owners on either side will obtain half of that right of way. building setbacks as outlined in the Marion County zoning regulations will be maintained. Subsequent deeds should acknowledge the vacation and the distribution of lands accordingly. It is staff's opinion, based on the facts in the case outlined above, that the requested vacation of this portion of, do you want me to read those back out again? Okay. Okay.
I think we're good.
As stated previously, those portions of street rights of way and the one alley on block 6 in the Canada Town Site plat, Marion County, Kansas, be recommended for approval by the Board of County Commissioners of Marion County, Kansas, based on the finding that the public will suffer no loss or inconvenience by such vacation and that no private rights will be injured or endangered thereby. It's recommended that all building setbacks as outlined in the Marion County zoning regulations be enforced. So if the board has no questions for me, the applicant, Mr. Bernhardt, is present. If you have any questions for him, or if you need more information, please let me know.
Maybe just point of clarification, when you're saying the setback, building setbacks will remain the same, would that be from the original property lines or from the new ones as those areas are vacated and assigned to the property?
Right, it would be from the new property boundary. Mhm.
So they actually would enlarge capability for
So they would be able to use more land, right?
Would it be possible to restate what was said? Difficult to catch that off the mic, at least for me it was.
Okay, so Mel asked if the setback would be from where the property boundaries are now, or if that setback would go to go back to where the new property boundary is. Those setbacks would go back to where the new property boundary is. Will be.
Okay, thank you.
Russ, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I thought it was stated perfectly well in the staff report and explained perfectly well here this evening.
Good answer, Russ.
I have one question. Hello?
Go ahead, Glenn.
Yeah, this is Glenn. One question I have is on that alleyway. How would that be divided up with the adjoining landowners?
So
Would
that,
it be,
go ahead.
would it be split down the middle and both sides?
Yes.
Okay. So really, after that's divided up, there's really not much that they're gaining on either side of that alleyway, I would assume.
There's not a whole lot of area footage wise. However, it does, like you can see there's a shed on what would be, I think it's lot 3, 4, 5, and 6 on the west side. There's a shed right there. It would give more setback for that shed.
Okay.
The property owners are,
There probably would not be room for like a roadway or to access with a vehicle, then I guess is my question.
no, that's correct. It would no longer be a public right of way
Right.
if the vacation.
Would no longer be an alley, right?
That's right.
Okay, all right, that was my question.
And it's my understanding, and from our research, there are no access easements on that alley or in any of these portions of streets
no
that are being
utilities
proposed.
going down those areas.
The utilities are located in other places. There's a rural water line that runs down First Street or 194th Terrace. It wouldn't be affected by the vacation. And that, where it says block 6, that big gray area is actually a parking lot. It kind of looks like a structure from this aerial view, but it's a parking lot.
It used to be a building at one time there.
It was a building at one time? Okay.
So basically, all of the areas that are shaded to be vacated, there's nothing on them that right of ways are used for at this time. No utilities, no nothing, just.
No, there were no easements filed, nothing like that.
I make a
This is
motion.
Brad.
Go
We're
ahead, Brad.
basically cleaning up what was, the landowners have been taking care of this property for X number of years, and we're basically cleaning up the plat to, these easements that were intended in case there was ever development involved. The current, land right there, back to the landowners who have been taking care of it for many years. Is that correct?
That's correct.
50.
Dan Bernhardt said about 50 years.
We
Yeah,
moved there in 1970, and we've been
Dan,
maintaining that.
You'll have to
would
grab
you
a,
mind going to
you'll have to
the,
grab a mic, just for the online, they can't hear unless you're directly in a mic.
sorry about that.
That's all right. This is Dan Bernhardt. We moved there in 1970. Mom lives still in Block 2, that's hers. And we maintained all of that in that area at that time. Block 3 was purchased from the co-op 15 years ago or so, and we maintained all of that between Block 4 and 3. So yeah, basically the landowners have been taking care of all that in that area.
Go ahead, Chase.
I think it's the right thing to do is to vacate those. It's similar to what Eastwood did, and it's just cleaning up things that have been in existence, and it's good maintenance practices.
I'd like to make a motion to recommend to the county commissioners to vacate as stated.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded to recommend to vacate the properties as stated. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carried.
So this will go to the Board of County Commissioners on March 8th. Let me double check that on the calendar here. I know they've got me on there on the 15th. So March,
So there's a 2-week protest period, basically,
yeah.
before they will review it. And so that's what you'll have to wait on. That's fine.
Okay, sorry, that would be March 15th is when the commissioners will review this case.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they'll make a final determination, and a resolution will be published in the newspaper, which will finalize their decision.
Okay. Good.
All right. Thanks a lot, Dan.
You bet. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Appreciate your time, all your effort.
Yes, thanks for coming in
You
tonight.
bet. Thanks.
Yep.
Now you can start mowing your own land.
Yeah. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Dan. All right, we'll move on. Off agenda items. Back to Sharon.
I have nothing for the board at this time.
Anybody else have anything off agenda?
Russ unmuted.
Russ, do you have something to say?
I typically don't. No, I just, in case I got asked, I thought I'd be prepared.
No, I think if there's nothing else, I think we're,
I do have a question, Russ. do you see up there on, kind of between block 2 and block 7 of that exhibit?
Huh?
There was a previously vacated street along the east side of those 2 blocks. So that
Uh-huh.
there's a little bit of a protrusion there that sticks out into that field. It's just a kind of a wonky shaped area now. Brandon, do you have another? There's another map in here that shows it a little better. See if we can find it. I was just
I think it's a
wondering.
Word document.
Yeah, I see it.
See how it sticks out past what the property boundary will be now? Is there any
Right.
way to, like, could those landowners, dedicate that to the
Property to the east.
property to the east, to that farmer?
Probably what happened is the field has gotten pushed west.
No, I can see.
Yeah.
I would guess the field edge probably, because there were some trees in one of these older ones.
Well, no, what she's saying is see there where the property boundary is now, you know, down below that to the
Mhm.
south.
Mm-hmm.
That's because at a previous point in history, they vacated that old road that would be on the back side of that
Mhm.
block. So at that time, that alleyway was split in half,
Right,
and that's what's left.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So just, is
So
there
it's a
any,
look-
go ahead, Russ.
I'm sorry, it's just a little tricky. I'm lining up the previous exhibit that shows the full, this shows post-vacation
Yes.
situation or the current situation,
Yes,
whereas the other map that we used with the orange shows, illustrates the existing platted lots in and around it. So what this exhibit on everybody's screen with the red boundaries and polka dots seems to indicate, I'm trying to think here now. So block 2, for example, it shows the vacated street portion to the north. I'm saying the other exhibit, the current exhibit, shows that street already being vacated back. I guess my point is that the east property owner, the large acre farm or field, already owns that. So these vacations are, let's stick with this exhibit showing the right-of-way in orange. So that will be split down the middle, east to west, with the north half going to block 2 and the south half going to block 7. But if you go to block 7 and block 2, you'll see that there's street right-of-way, but then there's a middle dividing line from the previous street vacation. So that middle line is now the east, yes, that's now the east property line. So if you were to take that line and extend it south and meet up with block 7 right there, everything lying east of that center line, that old center line road, goes to the east property.
So it would go to the farmer. He would still be considered part of that plat, even though that was previously vacated?
That is correct.
Okay, good. So it will
So-
it'll even that
Yes.
little notch out.
Right, so block 2 and block 7, they will not get back any right-of-way lying east of that old street center line.
Okay,
That yeah. So everything east of that half street goes
Previously.
to the, presumably to the owner of the field,
okay,
as does those lots and blocks that were already vacated.
okay. Just a minor detail, but it cleans it up a little better that way.
Right, so yeah, so block 7 and block 2 will not have a little stub out to the east.
Okay, good. That
It'll, yeah, it's all 90 degree.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, it does get, well, I won't dig here at you with some extraneous material, but almost always it goes 50-50 to adjoining property. Unless those property owners never dedicated the right of way to it. But since this is a town site plat, so it all gets divided and half goes.
Okay, makes sense. Okay, does anyone else have any other questions?
If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to adjourn?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Meeting adjourned.
You mentioned, Sharon, you
Thank you all.
Ready, have a good March.
Thank you, you too,
This
Ron.
conference is no longer being recorded.
Yeah, Sharon, you mentioned about getting all the titles and the deed work brought up to speed, make these changes. Who does that? Or who instigates that? That's something you have to
Yeah,
do. All
it's off.
the owners have to do that? Or?
Yeah,
Because what I was gonna
landowners
discuss
file
was-
all of that. So they'll have to re-deed to
The way this
reflect
crazy stuff's
the new
going.
property boundaries, and those get filed
Yes.
with the register of deeds.
So
And
each
then
property
Okay,
owner
so-
needs to take that issue.
I plan on calling
Either do it or not do it.
commissioners individually and the
And
sheriff.
I'd have to check, I think
I don't wanna do this,
mapping
I don't wanna do
here
this publicly to
downstairs
put pressure
does
on
the
nobody. I wanna plant
new
this
parcel
individually.
lines and parcel boundaries on there.
Well, I'm talking
I
about,
know it's those.
I'm just talking about how we need to deal with our part of
That
that.
sometimes don't get done and then down the road.
We need,
I'm all of a sudden there's
Issues.
a couple of families out there
All
on
over.
those deeds that aren't complete.
Newton County is,
Yeah.
you need to research.
I told her about it, and she said, yeah, she knew what the problem was.
That's
I
my,
talked
my
with our
in-laws were from down there, is why
legal
I'm familiar
counsel
with here.
about some of that,
But
to
they
see
just
how we
had their
follow through
commissioner
to
and the
make sure
sheriff
that
pass
things
an
get
ordinance
filed
that
like
said
they should.
that if any federal
Just as
agents
easy
come into
that
their
was.
county to try and
The best
enforce
way is
any
if the property owner is
non-constitutional
filed.
laws
Yep.
that violate the
Yeah.
first, second, third,